Hi, these are the test corrections for Chapter 2 from Math 4. This was taken September 25th, 2015. Make sure to show all your work in the space provided, box your answers. Using the following picture to name angles that are, so I have four options here: M, N, angle P, and angle Q. Question number 1, that says what is complementary? Well, complementary is blank plus blank equals 90. So I need to find two angles here that add up to 90. That would be P and Q, or you can have it interchanged to be Q and P and M and P. Question number 2, you're looking for two angles that are congruent. That means blank is equal to blank. So the only two angles that are the same there are M and Q. They're both 71 degrees. Question number 3, supplementary. That would be blank plus blank equals 180. That would be options N and Q. And also N and M. Question number, those were 2 points each. Question number 4. Given that the measure of angle 1 is 4n minus 31 and the measure of angle 2 is 5n plus 4, solve for n. So here I have angles 1 and angles 2, and here that gives me a box, and this is a right angle, which means that two angles add up to be a right angle. These are complementary, so that would be blank plus blank equals 90. So over here, if you just have that blanks or the equation correct, I gave you 2 points out of 4. You're going in the right direction. Now you just substitute in your values here. 4n minus 31 goes here for angle 1. For angle 2, I'm going to put in 5n plus 4. There's angle 2 and then 5n plus 4. Combine like terms here. 4n plus a 5n gives you 9n. Negative 31 plus 4 gives you negative 27. Remember, when you're going across an equal sign, you'll do the opposites. The opposites of subtraction is addition, so I will add 27 to both sides. Divided by 9 on both sides, n is equal to 13. There's 13. Now I can take the variable that I solved for and substitute it in for my here. So n equals 13. You can multiply and get 52 minus 31. That'll give you measure of angle 1 is 21. And over here, measure of angle 2 is 5n plus 4. Substitute in 13. 5 times 13 is 65. 65 plus 4 is 69. Notice how these two will add up to be 90 degrees. Question number 5. I have two intersecting lines here. Here, that means that opposite angles, or opposite of these sides, opposite angles here are congruent. These are called vertical angles. That would be blank equals blank. The other hint is that they have the same variable, so 2x plus 5 and 3x minus 33. And you just need to do your algebra, so subtract 2x here. If I subtract 2x over here, this will make it 0x, and this side will be 1x. Bring this down, add 33 to both sides, you'll get x equals 38. Take x is equal to 38 here, and you can put it into this variable here. 3 times 38 minus 33 will give you 81, and it works on the other side too, so you don't have to do both. You can just pick one. 2 times 38 plus 5 will give us 81. So 81 degrees will be in this angle. If I add that to 4y minus 1, this will equal 180. This is a linear pair. 81 and negative 1 gives me a positive 80. Subtract 80 from both sides and you'll get 4y equals 100. Divide by 4 and then y equals 25. Question number 6. Write the converse. If false, give a counterexample. So you have two things. First thing you do is write the converse. The first thing the converse means is switching the hypothesis and conclusion. The hypothesis comes after the word if, and the conclusion comes after the word then. So I have the hypothesis in pink and the conclusion in yellow, so you just switch spots there. So if M is between A and B, then M is the midpoint of AB, so that is my converse. The second part I need to do is if false, So let's think about this. If I draw a picture, M is between A and B. So here's M, it's between A and B. And I believe that's false because it's telling us it must be. So remember that conclusion when you're thinking of the word counterexample, you should be thinking the only answer is that it must be a midpoint. Well, notice how M is between A and B, but not necessarily in the center with congruent marks there. So the answer is false because I can use segment addition here. This small plus this small equals a whole segment. If you wrote just the converse, I gave you 2 points. Question number 7. Given the following statements, what can you conclude? So they're going to give you 2 clues. Here's your first clue. If I go to the library, then I will check out a book. If I check out a book, then I will read tonight. So those are your 2 clues. If you recognize in the 2 statements there is something that is the same, and that is the check out a book. So if I say I go to the library as X and I check out a book as Z, so X is equal to Z, then it says if Z, then Y. Well, you can substitute them, right, because they both have a Z, so X is equal to Y. So if I go to the library, then I will read tonight. That is the answer, 2 points. I gave you, if you was completely wrong, you got 0, but I gave you 1 point if you said you were going to read, but you didn't say tonight, or you included the words, if I go to the library, if you included the words check out a book. That's already assumed in both of those. Question number 8. Complete the proof either using a 2-column or a flowchart. So here I have a 2-column, and notice how they're the same. I have statements and reasons. I'm going to write down my given information. 2 is equal to 4, that's given. And so in the 5 steps in awesome proof, you should be writing down your givens, then you should be writing equations off the given, which I can't do. 2 is equal to 4 is already an equation. Then now I'm going to make equations off my picture. So off my picture I see a linear pair here. So 1 plus 2 equals 180, and that's the linear pair postulate. Now if you use the word linear pair postulate and you don't have an equation, or that's all you got, I give you 2 points for the whole proof out of 4. You also have a linear pair over here, 3 plus 4 equals 180, linear pair postulate. They both set equal to 180 degrees, so now you can set the 2 equations equal to each other. Did that by substitution. And then you're going to use this clue. Every time you see 2, you can write 4. You can use it the other way. 4 is equal to 2. This is the same. There's my substitution. Every time I see 2, write 4. This is the same. This is the same. And lastly, you can subtract, because both sides have an angle 4. If you subtract angle 4 from both sides, subtraction property equality, you'll get angles 1 is equal to 3, and that's what I needed to prove. Okay, question number 9. To complete the proof, either using a 2-column or a flow. So if you did a flow, it's basically the same thing, right? You have your statements, and underneath it you have reasons. So here you are given angles 1 is congruent to 2, and we see that on the picture. We need to prove the lines parallel. So to give you an idea, back in chapter 2, to prove lines parallel, you have to use a converse, and I'll state it when we get to the bottom. So first statement is angles 1 is equal to 2. That's your given information. And now I need another equation off this picture. Well, off this picture, a lot of you, this would be the mistake, is to think that 1 is equal to 3. The reason why 1 is not equal to 3 is because they're not corresponding angles. They are corresponding angles, but they're not corresponding angles with a parallel line. If 2 parallel lines are cut by the transversal, then corresponding angles will be congruent. But you'll know that M and N are not parallel. You'll know that because you don't see any arrows here, and we're trying to prove that they're parallel. So I can't use that equation. But I do have this one. 2 intersecting lines, opposite angles are congruent. That would be vertical angles. 2 is equal to 3, vertical angles. Then if you look at both of these, they should have something in common, and they do, and that's angles 2. So you can do a substitution. 1 is equal to 3. And that is enough information to prove line M is parallel to N. And the reason why you must have the word converse, so if you just said corresponding angles here, I gave you 3 points. The reason why is that The converse means you switch the conditional statement, so it'll say this: if corresponding angles are congruent, then two lines cut by a transversal are parallel. Okay, so that word converse is important. And there's the extra credit question. So that side was out of 8 points, front side was out of 20, and then that test was out of 28.